playing Augusta National has always been something, being from the Southeast, that really has been something that I've had on my to-do list. I don't have a bucket list. I have a to-do list. But that is one that is quite the stretch. So that's always been something focused of mine. Other than that, it's really just building the business that we have, staying true to what my statement of faith is within the business, and trying to have an impact to make other people's dreams come true.
There's a difference between a dream chaser and a dream catcher.
Thanks all for tuning in to Dream Catchers, where we make things happen. Dream Catchers was formally launched to unlock the hidden potential in successful, self-motivated individuals who desire to take their life's work to the next level but need support to evolve. We are a collective group of professionals with various backgrounds that use our talents to assist those individuals in realizing their wildest dreams by providing education, inspiration, and direction. This podcast is where we share the lessons we've learned along the way to catching our dreams and give you some context around the how and the why to each approach to put you further ahead on the journey to catching your dream. Are you ready?
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Dream Catchers podcast. I'm your host, Jerome. You're in for a treat today, ladies and gentlemen. Tony Torres is in with me today from down in Greenville, South Carolina. How are you? How are things, sir?
I'm doing well, man. It's good to be here. It's a blessing to be here with you today. I hope all's well with you.
So for those of you who aren't watching on YouTube, we do have a YouTube channel. I know most of you listen, but Tony's got a very interesting logo behind him. So give me a little bit about the logo, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So my wife and I, we are the founders of COR13 Capital. And what we do is that we seek to use commercial real estate as an avenue. So 1 Corinthians 13, known as the love chapter in the Bible, is that everything that we do is on mission to spread the gospel. So 30% of all of the income that comes into COR13 will be deployed to biblical missions around the world, here in the States, partnering with churches and local communities to just help make an impact and use commercial real estate to do
that. Yeah. That's interesting. 30% is a very large number from all intents and purposes. So I want to go there. The ability to live on 70% of your income. Where did you learn that discipline?
Well, there was a real struggle because I don't come from, a lot of money. So you learn to budget really, really well. You learn to be smart with your finances, and you start realizing exactly what you need to live on and how much money you spend that you really didn't need to spend on stuff that you really didn't need at all. So it's not from a scarcity mindset. It's just I looked around me and I started seeing things that I would buy and then either underutilize or just wouldn't use at all. So I started thinking about, how does God bless in ways that make a huge impact? And it's when we make the stretch, when you do something that really, you feel the pain of it, you feel the pull of it, that's when he does some of his greatest work. So if we're going to take 30% of the money that comes into our company and go have an immense impact, just imagine what God will do with that. And that's just kind of how we look at it. Plus, commercial real estate is some of the largest cash flowing assets in the world. So if we operate it the right way and take care of our investors, we're going to have opportunity after opportunity after opportunity that God will be able to bless within those opportunities as well. So we just believe in making the stretch for impact.
How did you get into commercial real estate?
Really by chance. I was in college. I was going to be working in healthcare finance. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go make an impact on pediatric cancer. My best friend passed away when I was 12 of leukemia. And I saw the financial burden that his family went through. And I just wanted to have a place in that to make a difference. So when the pandemic came down, I started seeing real changes in the landscape. And I started getting my eyes open to what that looked like from a financial perspective. And I really just started being pushed away from it because I just saw a lot of money being kind of utilized there or as the incentive. And I saw a lot of people's families hurt. So I decided that I would kind of look into real estate. I took 3 real estate classes in college. I really enjoyed it. I wanted to go into the residential side. I wanted to be own like 20 single family homes in 20 different cities. And I realized pretty quickly that that's unscalable from a management standpoint, from a rehab standpoint. It's really tough to do that. So I was on LinkedIn one day and I saw a friend of mine closed on a 160 unit in Greenville, Texas. And I immediately reached out to him and I said, man, I need to know how you did this, what you're doing, because I know how much money you don't make. So I needed to kind of understand like that entire process. And he was really gracious with me to spend about an hour or two on the phone with me, just kind of giving me the high level, giving me ways to educate myself, books to read. And then I just dove into it. Moved to Florida, was going to try to do some stuff down there in the heat of the boom of commercial real estate and the real estate market overall. And that I learned a lot, but also learned how to be able to accept the word no, and when it's not right for you. So from there, I've really just expanded my palette, and now I do multifamily, build to rent, and golf courses. So it's kind of my tripod there that I truly love.
Now, I'm just intrigued on this golf course thing because I've only heard people talk about multifamily here lately.
Yeah.
You can own a golf course?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can own that's 300 acres of land that you're just cash flowing. So it's pretty. It has a small business play to it. In a way, similar to self-storage. The lending can be similar. It's just going to be off the land itself. But it's a really unique business, and we have an amazing team that's got 30 years experience behind owning and managing golf courses that I'm a part of and I'm blessed to be a part of. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So what's your role if you're partner with a team with that much experience?
Yeah, so my role is I come at everything now, Jerome, you know this about me. I come at everything from a blessing standpoint. You know, I just kind of put it out there that I wanted to learn how to own a golf course. I really saw the multifamily world just becoming so saturated when I was living in Florida. Every single person I ran into was a multifamily investor, multifamily syndicator. Everyone was. And it didn't drive me away, obviously, but I was like, I wonder what else I could do that no one else is doing. So I reached out to a couple of people that I know that own or have had experience within managing golf courses or being directors or superintendents of golf courses. And I asked them, I just wanted to get a feel around the expenses. So I had a connection that really, he introduced me to somebody that he used to work with at Disney. They have 4 golf courses down there. One of them used to host the PGA Tour tournament there, and he connected me. And since that point, my partner and he has really taken me under his wing to teach me the business and do it all for the sake, because he knows I have a passion for the game. So he just helps me learn it. And we found one, and he said, all right, Tony, we're going into business on this. So I've been on the acquisition side. I've been on the capital raising side, the education to investor side. And it's really just, he takes the reins and expects me to follow along and learn and drive the ship when it's my turn to drive the ship. But that's really how we've handled it. It's just been a blessing.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And so you're kind of in an apprentice role, I guess would be a way of characterizing it.
You could call it that. I am the second majority owner in an apprentice role. Yeah, you could call it that. So that's what it'll look like.
And are you getting your ownership through cash or sweat?
I'll get it through sweat. I mean, it's a lot of sweat. So the ownership style, you know, for all of you that are familiar with commercial real estate, you usually see a 70-30 split in ownership between the LPs and GP side. In golf courses, it's really tough to do that because of the sweat and the risk that we take on. As far as insurance, the liquor license, Illinois is very, very strenuous on their alcohol regulations. So we take on all that risk, and our limited partner investors don't take any of that. So for that added risk that's on us, we also do all the footwork, all the legwork, and getting the structure set up. So we take the 51% majority ownership of the deal.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. And so what were you doing before you moved into the commercial real estate stuff?
Yeah. So I've worked for 2 prop tech companies. I worked for Zillow. I was involved in their acquisition department in the Tampa and Orlando area. But before that, I worked in manufacturing in the Greensboro, Winston-Salem area for 4 or 5 years up there in your neck of the woods. And then when I was finishing college, I just took the leap of faith and moved to Dallas, Texas. I was a finance major. So I had a wife and a baby, and I said, I'm not in a position to be taking an internship on. So I needed something to provide me some income, but needed experience while I was in college. Well, at the time, I was not having any success finding any way to have that work in my favor in the Greensboro market. So I moved to Dallas, Texas, where I got a job opportunity working in a bank. Great experience, not the most money, but learned a ton. And I wanted to go get my MBA and focus in healthcare. So I went to work for Baylor University and was going to provide them equity university in exchange for my education. After about a year there, I started learning that the value of it really wasn't what it was all made out to be at the level in my career that I was. So that's when I really dove into real estate as a whole, and then specifically commercial real estate about a year after that. So I've been a little all over, as you can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to be willing to try stuff. And the question that really came to my mind immediately is, how much courage did it take for you to say, hey, I'm not climbing the right ladder with the MBA? Because a lot of people feel like, I got to stamp this card so that I can get through this or get through that. And they don't take action or feel like they're qualified, so they don't do. But it seems like that hasn't been a concern for you.
And to be 100% transparent, Jerome, a lot of it is just the blessing of the positions that I was in. So when I was with Baylor, I was in enrollment services. So I saw the debt that a lot of these students would take on. I would see it on their bills. And when you're looking at, MBAs that already have 200, 300 grand in debt, it really starts opening your eyes to, where's the value in that? Where is how long do I have to work for somebody to go break even? What do I have to do to even just get to a point to where this is manageable again? And at the point in my life, I wasn't in a C-level position. I wasn't in a VP level position where you might get some help on that. You might get some, some tuition assistance to go back and get your MBA, or you might be promised something when you get back out. Not that promises always hold true, but there'd be incentive there. But I didn't have that. So it was really a pretty quick decision that this was not going to be the best path for me to success at the current state that I was in. So does it take a lot of courage? Absolutely. You have to be willing to be told no. You have to be willing to be able to accept that, the path that you're on might not be the right path for you. And it's just jumping right in and understanding that, being open to change is really what I've been good at.
Yeah, that openness to change is a thing that I think holds most people back and puts them in a prison. What I hear you saying is you didn't see a return on investment that was commensurate with the amount of debt you'd have to take on in order to get that certification. Is that fair?
So it is fair because, well, to a degree. So as I mentioned before, I went and worked for the university. So I wasn't going to have to go into that much debt. But it also, you have an opportunity cost factor. So where I'm not going into that debt, I'm also going to be in school for a lot longer than your full-time student. So I was going to be there about 7 years to get an MBA. Well, by that time, I'd be 36 years old and starting out with an MBA with very little MBA level experience. So it's the opportunity cost. Like I could go start a commercial real estate investment company, use it as a ministry, get deals done, and earn far above what an MBA would get me in a shorter amount of time and I'd make lasting relationships that could continue to breed success.
And so, what are some of the challenges that you face on this journey? Maybe you got 2 or 3 of them you could share with the audience?
Yeah, I mean, one of the challenges that you face, and everyone faces this, no matter what you see on LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, is you get told no a lot. You get told no a lot. And that's one thing that I was talking with our friend Kelly Cardenas about, was that, I've learned to be able to accept no as an answer, not as an emotion. I think we have a bad habit of that in the world today. We see yes as an affirmation and no as an emotion. And I've just learned to overcome the challenge of using no as an emotion. Money is always a challenge. Like, I started basically my career towards success with a wife and a brand new baby. Like, I was in college I literally started my degree 2 months after my daughter was born. So I was a full-time 60-hour-a-week worker in a manufacturing plant, working schoolwork at night. And I was on the club golf team. I mean, I just had a lot going on, and I was also a full-time husband and dad. So it's really the challenge of making sure that when you prioritize something, you prioritize a lot of time for it. That was always a challenge to overcome. And then really it's just, what do you do? It's overcoming the challenge when you realize that majority of life is stacked up against you. Having the mental capacity to not say I have to go do something, but that I get to go do something. Look at the gratitude side of what you're able to go do. Eliminate the word can't from your vocabulary, because can't is an habilitative word. That was always a mental challenge for me, was to just overcome the art of perseverance, I guess, is really just pushing forward on boundaries that really don't want to see your success.
So, being told no a lot, that was one of the challenges.
Yeah.
Did people explain why they were telling you no, or they were just saying no and slamming the door?
I mean, a fair amount told me no and gave me reasons for it. I mean, in the real estate world, you get told no, just that your deal wasn't the highest and best. When I got denied from the Navy, I just was told no. I wasn't really given a reason for it. And I worked really hard for that. But I had to just accept it for what it was. So I think it's about 50-50. And I just think that part of that is being able to accept that you won't always get an apology when you're done wrong. You won't always get a reason for why you're told no or why you're denied something. You just have to accept that that's what it is. And the faster you move on and the faster you accept that that's just an answer, the quicker your road to success when you get told yes.
So, when did you realize you had to keep going? Because I think we all get to this point where we start questioning whether or not we're doing the right thing.
Right.
And you seem pretty set on this is what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. I've endured the no's.
Yep. I think, Jerome, honestly, it has nothing to do with real estate. When I got denied from the Navy, I put 8 months of hard work, sweat, blood, and tears into that journey to get my body in the position that I needed to be in. And to go to the recruiter's office and be told no in less than 5 seconds after that, you have no choice but to pick up, because you could sit there and sulk in it, but the answer is not going to change. But you still have a future ahead of you. So I talked to my wife, we prayed, I cried for a day. I was just in anguish for a day. And then I said, I'm going to school. I'm going to finish my degree and I'm going. So I literally packed up, got in the car and drove to Lynchburg and enrolled in school that very next day. I don't even remember the day. It was a blur to me. I just said, I'm going to do it. And we did it. That was it. And that kind of set the tone for the future. Like, I'm not going to sit in decisions, whether they're yeses or nos. Like, if it's a yes, we just keep moving. You got to keep going. And if it's a no, you have to keep moving, and just pivot. That's what you have to do.
What's been your worst fear in the process?
Probably, that's a good question. I think my worst fear is probably going too far to where I can't go back. if like, you get into like a real estate deal, for example, and you underwrite it and it looks perfect to you, it looks great, and then market conditions change, but you've gone too far to be able to just jump out of it. You're already committed. That is something that used to scare me and would probably keep me in motion but not take action. But I look at other examples of that in my life, and I realized that there were a lot of things that held me back from that fear of getting too far in over my head to not commit to it. Whether it was, a girl that I liked in high school, or I was afraid to, go try out for something, but because it was weird, or none of the kids in my school wanted to do it. It was just something that I would just get so afraid that if I got too far into it, I couldn't get myself back out of it. That used to hold me back a lot.
A lot of people want to unlock their ultimate potential but lack the strategy, support, and stamina necessary to achieve their major goals. They often try to overcome these challenges by trying to do it on their own, causing frustration, fatigue, and eventually failure. We have developed a model for a center life, aka the red pill, to help them bolster their beliefs, gain clarity on their path to success, and provide accountability as they take action on their goals. When they take the red pill, they rapidly accelerate attainment of their goals and begin to experience a life of significance and impact. Want to find out more? Hop over to jeromemyers.co. Now, let's get back to the episode. Was there a point when everything was on the line, Tony? Was there a rock bottom for you?
Yeah, I mean, a couple times. Like just what I just alluded to. So I'll go back to kind of tell my story about the Navy. When I lived in Greensboro, I was about 360 pounds. I mean, I was a rather large individual, and just unhealthy. Yeah, I mean, I would walk the golf course. I could walk. I've been playing golf since I was 9. I could walk a golf course at 360 pounds, be in great shape, but I would probably go eat 14,000 calories after that. Like, I mean, I would just eat a ton of like horrible food. Yeah, horrible. And it was just causing me a lot of depression, and my income and where my life was just causing me a lot of anxiety, depression. So my father-in-law, he was in the military. He told me, he said, you're at 25 years old. Why don't you try to join the Navy? Or you're 26, try to join the Navy, see what happens. And I said, I need a change in my life anyway. I'm making minimum wage, and I have bigger dreams than this. So I just went for it. And I literally changed everything about my life. I changed what I ate. I didn't eat a carb for a month. I ran every day, no matter what, the weather, the climate, nothing. And in Greensboro, it gets hot. So I ran in 110 degrees. I ran 3 miles. It was one year I was up there, or while I was doing it, it snowed. It snowed like 6 inches, and I went and ran in the snow. I mean, literally in any condition, I ran in it. I lost 180 pounds in 8 months. And all to get told no. You feel like you have hit rock bottom. Like you feel like your life, for that one split second, it's just over. Like there's nothing you can do, because what you just worked the hardest for was a no. And at that point, I felt like I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what to do. I'm just like an emotional person, just crying, eating the gallon of ice cream, and just feeling bad for myself. But that was rock bottom for me. That was it. And my wife was huge in that time. She said, well, you need to take a day and sulk in it. You have to have your time to grieve that, a little bit after all that work, but then you got to get up. And that was how I did it. Was I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to get up and go push forward. I wanted to just sit. That's all I wanted to do. But, just knowing that you're not going to be successful, and no one's going to feel bad for you if you don't get up and go. No one's going to feel sorry for you. So you have to get up and just keep going and pressing forward. Yeah, I would say that was rock bottom, brother. I mean, it was rough.
That's crazy. So let's talk about health, because that's a lot of weight in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
How'd you figure out what your diet would be? How'd you figure out your exercise routine? And then, I mean, you certainly aren't 360 again. So
No.
how'd you make sure that you didn't go back to where you were? Because most people
Um,
lose weight instead of getting rid of it.
yeah. So I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of let myself go a little bit. I have to become more disciplined in that. But what I did was I started buying literally 10 grocery items at the store every week. That was all I ate. So I would eat like salad, broccoli, chicken, and like whole or natural peanut butter. None of the Jif or anything like that. And that was it. And I just learned to love coffee. So I would literally meal prep myself for a week, and I wouldn't have anything else in the fridge for myself. So I would almost not give myself options. So I had to lose weight on what I ate. So I would eat apples, eggs, chicken, leafy greens, broccoli, and a scoop of peanut butter and coffee and a bunch of water. That's it. And I did that for nearly 8 months. And then I went 1 month where I hit like a plateau. So I just decided on like the 1st of September, the hottest month of the year in Greensboro, I wouldn't eat a carb for 30 days. So I literally ate nothing but chicken and some ground bison, some turkey, and water and coffee for 30 days. And I was the most miserable person in the world to my wife. Yeah, I was, because carbs, they're a mood balancer. You ever notice like when you eat like a sandwich or some pizza, you feel better mentally for a little bit, like it balances out your mood. Well, I was an angry cuss for a month because I didn't have a carb, and it was not fun. But I think I lost 20 pounds that month. The first month I lost 43 pounds. The very first month.
Were you
Yeah.
like hungry though? Because if you go
Oh
from
yeah.
14,000
Oh yeah.
calories to
Oh yeah. I was starving. There were many nights I went to bed hungry. I would just drink water, try to dilute it down with coffee. Um, I even got sick one time. I even like was literally sick because my body could not take it anymore. I mean, definitely what I did was not the healthiest option. Know that. But I put myself on a goal, and the only way I was going to achieve that goal was the simple routine that I did every single day. That's how I did it. So I got really sick one day. My wife said, "You've got to eat. You've got to eat." So we went to, and I was plateauing. Like I was just anxious and all this. So she said, "I'm taking you to Mexican." So we went on Battleground to Blue Agave over there by Friendly Center. You know what I'm talking about? And I threw down 3 baskets of chips. I think 6 tacos, a bowl of refried beans, and some dessert, I think. And I lost 10 pounds the next morning. Yeah.
funny how that works.
It's anyone who says that they have the answer really doesn't have the answer. I mean, we know kind of generally what you should and shouldn't eat. Like I would not recommend eating a bunch of Snicker bars and stuff like that. I mean, obviously leafy greens are better for you, but sometimes you just got to use the reverse psychology method to get where you want to go. And that was proof to me that it worked. I lost 10 pounds overnight by doing that.
Wow. So what's been the reward for going on this arduous journey? You made a bunch of pivots.
Yep.
You've made lifestyle changes. Hopefully you're not
Yeah.
still grumpy. Hopefully you're eating
No.
carbs now.
Oh yeah. I'll throw down on some pizza, man. Oh yeah. The biggest reward, honestly, is the ability to have an impact on people. I got the blessing the other day. A 20-year-old in college wanted to just talk to me about where he has a passion for real estate. He's deciding whether to go into acquisitions or the brokerage side. He wants to be an investor, but he called me because of something I posted that resonated with him. Well, something I said resonated with him. He wanted to just talk to me to see like what I would recommend for his future. And that probably is the biggest victory for me, just being able to speak into people and to provide impact on people, whether it be monetarily or, you know, from advice or whatnot. You know, all I care about in this life is people. I care about not just their success financially, but I care about their families. I care about their spouses and their livelihoods and the things they care about. You know, that's where I find the biggest success in all of this, is seeing people be able to live the life that brings them joy. Yeah.
So some people get tripped up on this question, but I think you'll have a good answer for me. Were there any things that try to pull you back into your old lifestyle? Because, you know, you
Oh
made
yeah.
some pretty dramatic changes.
Oh yeah. All you gotta do is get in your car and drive down the street. You'll see big red signs and blue signs, and I mean, they all have nice greasy McDonald's all over them, and pizza, and I mean, you can sit down on the TV and loaf over some sports for 15 hours if you want to. I mean, it's really just, the world is built from a marketing standpoint so that you feed into it, and you sow into the world. And with where I've seen folks like yourself, Jerome, and Kelly Cardenas, and so many other great people, is you haven't let that dictate you. You haven't let you haven't let the world pull you into where you sow into it. You've built this life to where the world sows into you. And that is what I have tried to keep mentally. Like, I want to make this to where life is on my terms for the glory of God. Not to where I'm getting told by a sign to come buy a hamburger, or I'm getting told by an ad agency, hey, come spend, you know, this so much money on your marketing because we have the answer to end all be all. It's really making sound decisions and being disciplined in my mental thoughts to how I kind of progress forward.
I like that, because I think so many people miss out on the fact that we're in a space where we get programmed, and it's all
Yeah.
to further their mission or their cause, them being the programmers.
Yeah,
What's the,
absolutely.
what's the biggest difference in your approach to life today versus, call it, 5 or 10 years ago?
Yeah. I mean, 5 or 10 years ago, I lived for the dollar on Friday. I would get paid every Friday and it'd be gone by Sunday. I mean, it was just, I lived, everything was about money back then. Everything was just about, like, how can I make the next dollar? And now it goes back to what I just said a few minutes ago. Now, every investor I talk to, every person I talk to, whether it be insurance, lenders, or whatnot, is I tell them, like, I care about you. I care about, you know, the quality of life that you live. You know, what is important to you? What's important to your wife? Like, I think about, you know, you take example, like on any of our deals, man, like, it's 50,000 to get into a lot of these. That 50,000 is a lot of money. I don't care how much money you make. 50,000 is a lot of money. Well, there's a spouse on the other end of that. There's kids on the other end of that, and I care about them. I care about, you know, how is this going to benefit you, and how is this going to hurt you? You know, what is the best thing for you? And making an impact on people is where I've really changed a lot. Is that I want to see people thrive. I want to see people live out their best so that they can give and be a blessing to others.
Being a blessing to others. That's come up about 5 times during this episode.
It has.
You're really clear.
Has. Yeah. It's a passion of mine, man. I just, as the older I've gotten, I've started seeing that everything that has been behind me, a lot of the worries that I had, a lot of the goals that I had, or even the short-term focuses, they really weren't worth it. But, you know, pouring into other people through real estate, through different endeavors that we do, it has the lasting impact.
Tony, what are you most grateful for?
Oh, my salvation, number one. Number two, I would say my wife, obviously. Sorry for the hesitation. I didn't mean to have that hesitation in there. I'm most grateful just for the you know, the people that are in my life, and, you know, how, generally speaking, if you live and have a selfless attitude, people will have it back to you. And I'm grateful just for the opportunities that I get to have. You know, there's millions of people out there that never learn anything about real estate or business or the opportunities that we see. So to be able to get to do what we do, it's pretty amazing.
Your faith. So was there a pivot point, or is this something that you've been into since you were small?
So I came from a broken home when I was younger. I never slept in the same bed twice in a row. I mean, I would go back and forth between houses. So I kind of, when I was younger, I went to church pretty much as just an escape route. Then I started seeing people really care about me in church. Like, you know, people would sow into me and pour into me. And then when I was living in Greensboro, I started attending a church in the Danville, Virginia area. Smaller church, but they had a mission project there with Compassion International. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. But they are a mission that's based out of Colorado, and their entire working is to release children from poverty, both globally and domestically. So I went through a compassion, like a workshop that they had at our church, and I started seeing like all these kids, like pictures and their stories from third world nations like Guatemala and Haiti and like, you know, Bolivia, like these just third world nations, or might even be first world. They just don't have a lot of resources there. And I just sat there reading, like just reading the stories of these kids. And I started making friends and connections with people that work for Compassion. And there's many other organizations out there that do the same thing. They just might not be as well known in the space, but I just started doing my research and I started seeing that there's a real opportunity here. And then I obviously went to a Christian university, so I had my faith poured into me a lot. And then I just started spending time with God and getting around people that are believers. And God has really blessed me and sparing me a lot of the tragedies that a lot of kids that grow up in my situation, where you come from a broken home. He spared me a lot from that. And it's just been something that has been the most important to me. And that's just grown over probably the last 15 years or so.
Love it. I'm always curious about those journeys. Tony, what dream are you most focused on catching next?
Does it have to be real estate, or can it be anything?
Anything.
My dream is to play Augusta National. Like that, it's like that is, I believe in what you're saying is like your mantra is that your dreams should be real. As a passionate golfer, and golf has always been really important to me, playing Augusta National has always been something, being from the Southeast, that really has been something that I've had on my to-do list. I don't have a bucket list. I have a to-do list. But that is one that is quite the stretch. So that's always been something focused of mine. Other than that, it's really just building the business that we have, staying true to what my statement of faith is within the business, and trying to have an impact to make other people's dreams come true.
Well, you're not trying, brother. You're making it happen.
Yeah, we're doing it.
We're
doing it. I appreciate it.
So the final question, and it's always the final question, is what's the one thing you want listeners to take away from this episode?
I would say to never limit yourself. Stand firm in what you believe. And going back to what I said, eliminate the word can't from your life. Like, eliminate it. I tell people this all the time. Can't is an habilitative word. So if it's habilitative, then that means that you wouldn't have the ability to do what it is that you want to do. So can't is basically eliminating your ability. You can do anything that you want, and whether it be real estate, building a business, being, a corporate exec, anything that you want, you can do it. You just have to want to and believe in yourself. And if there's one thing that I would say to anybody, is that I believe that you can do it. I believe that you will do it if you want to do it. And it's just to be an encouragement to you. That's what I would like to give people.
Love it. You heard it from Tony. Stop saying you can't. Eliminate it. I think it should be banned from the dictionary. But
I agree with you. Yeah.
To the listeners, till the next time, your dreams should be real. We'll talk soon.
Thank you for joining the tribe today. We would love to hear from you. Please don't forget to rate, like, and share. Perhaps someone you know could benefit from what we've discussed. Until the next time, remember that your dreams should be real.